They thought they could fence him in. They thought they could humiliate him. But when the HOA decided to box in Marcus Reed's ranch, they never imagined that the quiet man they mocked would flip the entire game on its head. Owning the very land their only gate sat on, what started as petty harassment quickly turned into one of the greatest real estate revenge stories the neighborhood had ever seen. Marcus Reed wasn't just any homeowner. He was a 52-year-old retired firefighter, a man who had risked his life, more times than he could count, saving strangers from burning buildings. After decades of service, he bought himself a dream ranch on the outskirts of a suburban community, 10 acres of rolling green pastures, a red barn, and space for his horses. It was peaceful. It was his sanctuary. But to the homeowners association next door, Marcus was an outsider. He didn't join their HOA. He didn't pay their dues. Didn't show up to their meetings about aesthetic regulations. Worst of all, according to them, he didn't fit the image they wanted for their pristine suburban development. Marcus kept to himself, but the whispers began. HOA members complained that his barn clashed with the neighborhood's modern look. Others muttered that his cattle smelled. And a few not so subtly sneered that people like him don't usually own land like that. Marcus knew exactly what they meant. He had faced worse before. But when the HOA decided to escalate, they crossed a line they could never uncross. One morning, Marcus woke up to hammering. He walked outside and found construction crews putting up a massive wrought iron fence. The HOA president, a sharp-tongued, a woman named Linda Crawford, stood proudly watching as if she owned the land. Marcus called out, "What's this supposed to be?" Linda turned with a smile dripping with condescension. "It's for the safety of our neighborhood. We're enclosing the community with a secure perimeter. Your ranch just happens to border our development, so we're wrapping you in too." Nothing. Personal? Nothing personal? They had fenced his ranch inside their community's walls. Worse, there was only one gate for the entire neighborhood, and it was on the other side of his property line. "Don't worry," Linda added. "We'll give you a gate card if you'd like to pay the HOA membership fee. Otherwise, well, you'll figure it out." Marcus clenched his jaw. They were trying to trap him, force him to pay their dues just to access his own home. Marcus didn't argue. He didn't yell, simply nodded and walked back into his house. But inside he was already formulating a plan. You see, the HOA had been sloppy. The new security fence was mostly on their land, but that single main gate was built on a small strip of property the HOA didn't own. It was an overlooked plot, barely an acre, that belonged to an old farmer who had moved to Arizona years ago. And Marcus, he knew the man. That very afternoon, Marcus picked up the phone. "Hey, Jim," he said. "That little acre you've still got by Oakwood Drive, you still looking to sell?" Jim chuckled. "Son, I've been trying to sell that useless patch. For a decade. You want it?" A week later, the deed was in Marcus's name. Not only did he own that acre, he owned the land under the only gate into the neighborhood. And with it, he held the one and only physical key. The HOA didn't notice at first. He kept mailing Marcus's membership fee reminders. They sent him letters, threatening fines if his property wasn't brought up to code. Marcus ignored them all. Then came the day Linda herself tried to drive through the gate and found a brand new sign posted, "Private property. Access by owner permission only." Furious, she stormed up to Marcus's porch. "What is the meaning of this?" she demanded. Marcus leaned casually against his railing. "Simple. That gate is on my land. You're trespassing every time you use it. That's ridiculous," she snapped. "This is an HOA managed entrance." "Not anymore," Marcus replied, pulling out the freshly recorded deed. "I own the property beneath that gate. Ow. And if you want a key, you'll need 2. Lease access from me." Linda's face drained of color. She stammered, "Yo, you can't do this." Marcus smirked. "I can, and I did." Within a week, chaos erupted. The HOA members had no way in or out without passing through Marcus's gate. Delivery trucks couldn't enter. School buses were rerouted. Amazon drivers left packages piled. At the edge of the road, residents had to beg Marcus for access or drive an extra 12 miles around the back roads that weren't paved. The HOA called an emergency meeting. Some residents blamed Linda for her arrogance. Others begged Marcus to negotiate. Linda, however, doubled down. She tried threatening him with lawsuits, zoning complaints, even police intervention. But every time the authorities came, Marcus showed the deed. Case closed. Finally, Marcus made his offer. I'll lease access to the HOA for a fee. The same membership fee you tried to force on me, except now you'll be paying me every month. The HOA had no choice. They signed the agreement. From that day forward, the very organization that had tried to fence Marcus in now had to pay him just to come and go from their own neighborhood. Neighbors who once sneered at him now waved politely. HOA board members who had once written angry letters now sent checks with his name on them. As for Linda, she eventually resigned, humiliated. Word spread quickly about how she had outsmarted herself into putting her HOA under the control of the very man they tried to oppress. And Marcus. He just enjoyed his ranch in peace. Every time he rode his horse past the shiny gate, he smiled. Because he knew sometimes the best revenge isn't raising your voice. Sometimes it's buying the land under someone's feet. For more interesting and heart-touching stories, hit the subscribe button now.